Tēnā koutou katoa, e hui mai nei. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e rau raka tērama tēnā koutou. E ngā iwi, a tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome everyone to this meeting of the Dunedin City Council, and as usual it will be opened with a prayer, and we have the Reverend Greg Hewson, who is the University Chaplain, to lead the prayer today. Kia ora.
Kia ora everyone. I'd like, before I pray, to thank Mayor Carl for coming to the University Convocation ceremony last night, which was at the stadium, and thank you for your words of wisdom, and then we had the Prime Minister speak. It was a wonderful occasion. And also to thank you for all the work that you do. I've been living here, as I shared with Dave last night, for 18 years, and so I speak and pray as a Dunedin person now. I'm feeling very much at home here. I've been looking at the agenda, as I always do, before I come, and I'm impressed with to be reminded about the vision. Dunedin is one of the world's great small cities, and this wonderful graphic circular display of the different components of fulfilling that vision. One of which is the Three Waters strategy, which I've been impressed to read. I have with me today Dr. Sharima Boa, who's from Flint, Michigan, and Sharima has had a lot to do with the council in Flint, Michigan, working through the ramifications of the water crisis. And so this is a reminder for us all, as with what's happened in Havelock North, of the important work that you do overseeing the provision of this wonderful resource. And so today we'll pray especially for all those who work in the area of the water policy. So kia noi tātou, let us pray. We give thanks, loving God, for this council and for all the many gifts that they have, and for their motivation to build a community built on these essential components of social well-being, economic development, environmental strategy, cultural strategy, parks and recreation, and transport, and so many other dimensions to their work that have to do with the wellness of our community. I do pray especially today for those who oversee this Three Waters strategy, and pray for your guidance and blessing and wisdom for all who implement this strategy through to 2060. That meeting water needs will indeed be met, that we will be able to adapt our water supply to a variety of future climate change and population scenarios, that we will remain committed to environmental protection, and kaitiaki taka, that we will indeed be guardians of this precious resource. And so I thank you for this opportunity to meet and to plan and to continue to create a positive, healthy community for all the people here who come, including students from all around the planet. May this council work wisely and constructively together this day and always, we sincerely pray. Amen. Thank you. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Greg. Right, now we'll move on to public forum, councillors, and we've had a late request from Diane Yeldon to speak at our public forum on waste minimisation. So, welcome, Diane.
I don't have a car. I can't take them to a recycling centre where I believe there's a hazardous waste thing. The same with smoke detectors. They're radioactive. What do I do with them? We have a glass collection here, but it's actually an unbroken bottle and an unbroken jar collection. I've checked with customer service. All other glass apparently is unrecyclable. So what do you do with it? She says wrap it up and put it in the rubbish sack. I'm worried that that's hazardous for the contractors. The other issue is paint. The council takes no responsibility for the recycling of paint. It leaves it entirely to the private sector. Again, you've got to have a car, you've got to take the care to find out which paint manufacturers will recycle paint and make the trip. Apparently empty cans can go in a rubbish sack. So what do people do to empty them? You know, they might empty them on the ground where they get into the stormwater system and eventually into the sea, and they might just put them down the drain where they get directly into the stormwater system. So rubbish contractors won't take paint either. This is, like many ratepayers at the moment, I've just had a skip on my property and I'm getting rid of big clean out. So this thing about making it easy and recognising that there are people that don't have cars, and you know, taking a trip to a recycling centre is difficult, and a lot of people just won't bother. And just one final point is your 2 rubbish sacks, 40 litres and 60 litres, the only way they're distinguishable from each other is you've got one in each hand and you see which one's bigger, which is a very rare occurrence for a person who's going to put one in the bin. Or if you know that the 60 litre bag has a barcode and the 40 litre doesn't, I use both because it depends how much rubbish I've got, and it will be a big help if you label them. So I hope that you will address some of these issues about difficult waste objects like batteries. I'm in the city, I can get to the city by bus easily and I come often. I'm quite happy if you had a drop-off place. Batteries might be a bit difficult because you don't want them charging each other, you know, an explosion. But if you had some kind of drop-off place for batteries, smoke detectors, there's a lot of smoke detectors sold and they don't last, a lot of them are very shoddy, and they do have radioactive material in them. And again, maybe you could give ratepayers some guidelines on how to dispose of glass which isn't recyclable, and just clarify that your glass recycling, you know, every fortnight is actually only for unbroken bottles and jars. That's really all. I just wish you luck with this project, and I think that it's really a good time for the council to catch up with other cities on this sort of thing. And what Mr. Houston said about water, this is a solid waste issue, so they're both about a sustainable city. Pretty clear.
Thank you, Diana. Any questions, Councillor Wilson?
Thank you. I was delighted. I'm just asking you, we've had recycled batteries for small AAs for a number of years, but do you realise that you can now get recycled on all ranges? And have you considered that? Because that, I think, is the message that we shouldn't...
You mean actually buy a recyclable battery?
Yes, that all of them come now in a recyclable form.
I went to Dick Smith's when it still existed and bought a big stack of A's and triple A's and in the cupboard, like most people, right? But that's the sort of information that is useful to me, because then I could, you know, make it easier for me and quicker in the future. So that sort of information would be good if the council, you know, put it out. No, I didn't know that.
Farmlands have them.
Any further questions, Councillor? Councillor Lord.
Diane, you said we could catch up with other cities, but it is that perennial problem. What do you do with batteries? Do you know of anything that happens? I'm thinking about your Duracells, and I do use a few.
Well, the ideal thing would be to make the manufacturers responsible, or the retailers responsible. So this is happening in Europe, that if something hazardous and difficult to dispose of is sold, I think in Germany you can post it back to the manufacturer, the seller, the retailer, and they have to pay the postage. So there are ways that these problems can be solved. It's your job to think of them.
Okay,
Research
thank you.
it.
Thank you, Diane.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Righto, Councillor Vandervis.
I don't know. Oh yes, they're there. Regarding larger batteries, lead acids, etc. If you drop them off at any of the metal recyclers, Everett's, all those people, they'll actually give you money for them. Those are the big bulk ones. So
Thank you.
that's a start at least.